guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you my recipe for my maple garlic roast chicken. So fantastic. I shared a picture of my dinner not too long ago on Instagram of this dinner, which I made with some roasted sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts, and I had everyone asking for the recipe for this chicken because it's just like sticky and golden brown and caramelized, and it's just phenomenal. So I have to share it with you. Let me take you over the ingredients for the marinade. You'll need maple syrup. Honey works as well, but it'll have a much stronger flavor. I've got lots of garlic, apple cider vinegar, balsamic, soy sauce, Worcestershire, light olive oil, black pepper, and you're gonna need some chicken. I love doing drumsticks for this, but you can do any cut that you like. Let's get going on the marinade. Now, obviously I will list the written recipe for you, but when it comes to something like this, right, you make the marinade like I'm going to show you now, taste it, and if you feel like you need it a little sweeter, add a little more maple syrup. If you feel like it's too sweet, add a little bit more vinegar or a little bit more soy. You have to just sort of play around with your palate and customize it to what you like. I always do that. Just make sure that you taste it before you add the chicken to it, the raw chicken to it. We don't want to do that. We don't want to add, taste something that has raw chicken in it, obviously. So what I'm going to do now is just finely chop my garlic. You can grate your garlic, but I'm just going to warn you that if you grate your garlic, it will be very, very pungent and a little bit too spicy. For some reason, when you grate garlic, it actually becomes really spicy and really strong and pungent. And I don't want it to be like that. I just want it to be really heavily garlicky flavored, but not so in your face that you can't taste anything else. Add everything in your bowl or your measuring cup or whatever you're using. I'm gonna add my maple syrup, which by the way, it looks funky in here because I sprayed my container with some nonstick spray so that the maple syrup comes right out. You give this a quick little whiskeroo. You know this is gonna be fantastic. And that thick maple syrup is really gonna caramelize and just be, oh, that is money. That is money. Okay. This is really easy, really fast. You take your drumsticks. I like to use drumsticks for this. A knife, and I just sort of score in a couple different places. I'll do this on a cutting board so you can see. And you do this because we're gonna marinate this for a long time because I want the flavor to really permeate the chicken, and it really helps. And also when it cooks and as it roasts, it gets beautiful. So go ahead and do that. Chicken's ready. Add it all in a large resealable bag. This is the best way to do it so that you can really mix around the marinade to make sure it's coating everything. Pour this glorious mixture right in. Okay. Seal. Now, there we go. Look at that. You know it's going to be fabulous. Look at that. Now, if you do this in the morning and then go to work, it'll be fine. Just want to make sure that you can, it's ideal if you can do this 24 hours before and just make sure that you, mix it around a few times so that everything stays coated and stays submerged in that marinade. I wouldn't marinate this for any less than like 3 or 4 hours because otherwise you're really not going to get that chicken flavored and well enough. So I'm going to do about 6 hours. I'm gonna place it on my plate, pop it in the fridge, and then every couple hours, you see how the marinade, settles to the bottom. Every couple hours, I'll go in and I'll flip it upside down so that the other side can marinate. And I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, my chicken's been marinating for hours and hours and hours. I've got my oven preheated to 400. I'm also going to share with you the sides that I'm making with this because you loved it when I shared the whole plate of the whole dinner on Instagram. So I'm going to try and do those a lot more often, just so that, it's a whole rounded meal. I've got a baking pan, and I've got some aluminum foil, some parchment paper. I crumble my parchment paper so that when you put it in there, it stays. If you want to make this on a big sheet pan, like a one-pan meal, you're going to need a really big sheet pan, just because you don't want to overcrowd your pan. Now, this baby goes in here, marinade and all. Make sure you put this, and I know it looks really liquidy, but you've got to keep in mind you have that maple syrup in there. So what's going to happen is the sauce will caramelize as it bubbles. You know, it's just going to be fantastic. And then what I'm going to do, I'll show you in just a minute. What I'll do is I'll baste it every like 10 minutes or so. I'll just baste the chicken. Beautiful. I'm going to set this aside for now so we can work on our sides. Our sides are super, super easy and simple. I'm going to do some roasted Brussels sprouts. To those, I'm going to add some olive oil. Light olive oil is fine. A nice big healthy pinch of salt, pepper. And then I add just a grating of Parmesan cheese. You don't even taste the Parmesan cheese. I think in all it's probably like a tablespoon or two, but it really helps with that lovely golden brown salty crust. So just add a little bit of that in there. Give this all a nice toss. All right, baking sheet. Again, more parchment paper. This is all about easy cleanup as well. Plus, your maple syrup is going to caramelize and burn a little bit, and we don't want that. So you do half Brussels sprouts, which you will then come in and just give everything a toss every few minutes. What I've got here are some sweet potatoes. People really had a field day with these sweet potatoes in my DMs because they thought that they were miniature sweet potatoes, but they're not. All I did was I boiled these whole until they are about, tender, until you can pierce a knife through them and it comes out. Not mushy. I just cut off the tops. Save that for some snacking. It's sweet potato. Oh, it's delicious. And cut them into large chunks like that. Right? Lovely. And I don't really do anything special to them except I just smash them a little bit. And if they break apart like that, it's fine. See? And just smash them a little bit like that. You can also do this on your cutting board if you want. And they get nice and crispy. I'm going to do some more and put them right on there. Last one. So then here's what I do. I take some butter, nice fresh new stick of butter. I'm just going to do a few pieces. I'm just going to do those. I'm going to save this one for later. You take your butter. I just put a pat of butter in the middle of each one. You then take some of that goodness from your chicken marinade and you just pull that right on top. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna be delicious. And I'm gonna pop the entire thing in the oven at 400, total about 30 minutes. You're probably gonna need to take the veggies out a little earlier than the chicken. The chicken might need to be in there a little bit longer until it reaches 165 degrees internal temperature, and you might need to pop the broiler on to really crisp up the top. It doesn't, sometimes I have two ovens. This one, it doesn't need to do that because it gets a little bit hotter, but my other one, I do need to do that. So I'm gonna keep those in there, just keep my eye on them and then I'll report back. Is that a sight or what? Look how beautiful. Oh, the sauce has thickened. I'm also gonna seal some of the sauce to drizzle on my sweet potatoes again. Now the sweet potatoes and the Brussels sprouts, they were in the oven for only half an hour. And I took those out and I let the chicken finish cooking for another 15 minutes or so. They're perfect, they're warm. If you want to, you can put those in about 15 minutes after you put the chicken in, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, every oven's different. Oh, my mouth is salivating. This needs lots of fresh parsley on top, and I mean lots. And this is how I'm gonna serve it. I actually do really have dinner guests here tonight for dinner. Look at that, that chicken just kind of falls off the bone. I'm just gonna mop up that sauce. Oh. It's sticky, it's sweet, it's perfect. Look at that Brussels sprout. Look at the beautiful golden brown. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful dinner. A little smashed sweet potato. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at that caramelized. Fantastic. Fantastic dinner, whether it's for a weeknight or you've got friends coming over, marinate the chicken the night before. All of your work is done for you. Pre-boil the potatoes the night before. Half the work there is done for you. Cut the Brussels sprouts up the night before. You get where I'm going with this. It's Perfect and easy for a weeknight, great enough for a weekend, and it's just cozy enough to remind you that fall is right around the corner. LauraInTheKitchen.com's got the recipe for you. I hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.